My name is Justin Freeman. I am the author of The Ghost of Amalgam, the linking tome. This is the first book of several books that I've written. I've written 4 total in the Ghost of Amalgam series. I've also written a science fiction story called Solar Nemesis Alpha. I am currently halfway through Solar Nemesis Delta. And I'm trying to create my YouTube channel, build my social media network because nobody knows me. And I have to get my name out there, and I have to actually have the book I'm trying to get published. In fact, bear with me one moment. So, even though I'm reading from online, this is actually my book, okay? This is actually the book that I wrote and that I self-published back in the year 2007. And I'm still trying to get it out there. I'm going to go to New York pretty soon just to let people know that, hey, I exist. I'm trying to get this book done. I'm trying to get it published. And that's what I'm trying to do. So at this particular moment, this is the book. Once again, it is available on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. This is the back part of the book so that you can see it here as well. Where will you stand in the presence of the Dark Phoenix? And this is my mother on it. I actually photoshopped her. I actually made this whole cover, in fact. I'm thinking about creating another cover for it since it's coming up on 20 years that this book has been available online because I self-published it back in 2007. I retained the rights with Outskirts Press, and I am trying to continue to work and get this book self-published, or at least published to the masses. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. So I'm going to read the first chapter, and once you hear this chapter, I might continue on. Maybe I'll get a nice display one day and just let everybody know, hey, this is my book. But at this particular moment, I'm going to set this down here, and I'm going to get into reading this. I don't know if I need to enlarge it. I'm trying to see here. But you can follow along with me. And as you can see, my name is up there, Freeman, linking tome 1. Chapter 1, Lauren Walson and the Pool Party. Now, this is the most updated manuscript. I've been working on this ever since I self-published it back in 2007. This is the 2023 revisions that I've made. So it's going to be a little bit to read. And I'm going to just try and read it as best I can to let everyone know that this is the book I'm working on. This is my life's work. And I am trying to continue on and get this published. And like I said, hopefully I will be out there shortly to New York to see if I can just walk around with my t-shirt, because I do have a t-shirt. But I'm just going to let everyone know that this is book that I want to hit the store shelves. Chapter 1 is called Lauren Walson and the Pool Party. And let's go ahead and start reading now. Baker's Creek is a small coastal town that is growing at a particularly swift pace. Geographically, the town is fertile and vibrant with its lush green trees, multiple water courses emptying into several lakes, a host of barrier islands, and numerous hills, but none larger than the giant incline in the center of town. It's populated by many wealthy families and has a particularly youthful demographic. Aside from the occasional malicious rumor about supernatural phenomena, many residents consider Baker's Creek the ideal suburban society. This progressive community has taken great care to mesh its development with the landscape, forging a town that appears to have grown with the natural environment. One such area is that of Evelyn Lane. This street lies upon a low hill with tiny yards containing trees and big bushes at the foundation of the colorful 2-story brick houses and a view of the water a few blocks away. In one particular house, number 2537, a warm yellow glow emanates from the second floor bedroom. Within the room are posters of popular young male entertainers, stuffed animals, and numerous photographs, some of which depict cardinals, lilacs, and starfish. A telephone, a melted jasmine-scented candle, a diary, and a Bible open to the book of Job lay on a bedside table stand. Inside is Lauren Walston, a rising high school sophomore relaxing during her summer vacation. She is a black girl with brown eyes, above high cheekbones, a broad nose, and a small mouth capable of a teeth-bearing smile with dimples. Her black hair brushed her shoulders and a blue t-shirt as she pulled up her white jean shorts, zipped them, and fastened the button. Lauren has sickle cell anemia, a genetic blood disorder that can cause excruciating pain episodes, yet she has been remarkably and inexplicably healthy for a majority of her life. She is a petite 5'5" when standing, but now she sits upon her bed painting her toenails while watching Channel 7 on a small television. The channel broadcasts the fledgling news station of her father, William Walston's growing media network. He anchors in the studio occasionally, and her mother, Anita, has made scant mention of him other than how hard he is working. A commercial for the news program preceded the broadcast. In it, Willem was standing straight, arms crossed, dressed in a white shirt, black slacks, and a blue tie. His thick black hair shined in the studio light, and his brown eyes were determined as he delivered his station's commitment to the news. Reporting is Mr. Stroud, informing his audience that the top story tonight on August 15th concerns the opposition against raising the body in the unmarked grave at Baker's Creek Memorial Cemetery. He described the cemetery's history as a graveyard for shipwrecked sailors whose bodies washed in and were recovered from Sailor Lake, identified and buried. Apparently, 2 local families engaged in a legal dispute hoped to raise the unmarked grave to prove the sailor as a genetic ancestor. Mr. Stroud continued. City Councilman and excavation opponent Dr. Stephen Knowles continued to petition the court and the mayor to halt the excavation. Dr. Knowles cited unnecessary expense and irreverence to the dead in order to solve a trivial mystery. Nearly 100 citizens have joined him in opposition to the excavation. However, the court sided with the families and set the excavation for September 10th. Without a glimpse of her father, Lauren's thoughts turned to her friend Amy Thompson's birthday party. She knew her friend Renee would be there, Amy's pal Peter, a loathsome boy who Lauren believes Amy fancies, and her crush Jason Birch. She pulled a photo of him from her dresser drawer taken during a biology class field trip to a greenhouse and gazed at it fondly. Lauren carries her camera everywhere, honing her skills so she could become a photographer, and was doubly grateful she brought it along that day because she captured her favorite picture of him. Jason is 5'7", slim build, innocent eyes, mocha skin, and a nice, close trimmed haircut with small waves in his hair. He willingly posed for her, and she asked him to sniff a bouquet of roses during a class field trip. His brown eyes rose slightly above the red flower leaves, sending chills down her spine and warming her very spirit. She couldn't contain her enthusiasm around him, and her friends all knew she was attracted to him, but she never had the courage to tell him how she felt. Lauren's head filled with lovely memories of them dancing at a last year's homecoming ball, and she was swaying in his arms again. She daydreams often when thinking of him and felt like indulging in one now. So Lauren moved Amy's birthday present, a bracelet, to her table stand and pushed aside her clothes for the party so that she could stretch out on her bed. She put on her favorite music and listened through her portable CD player. As the songstress sang a love ballad, her eyes closed, and in the darkness, stars sparkled. The ocean roared, and she and Jason sat atop the hood of his car on the grounds of the Baker's Creek Lighthouse. She gazed deep into Jason's eyes with a big smile as they discussed their dreams. Lauren had wanted to ask him out when they were alone in that rose garden, but she was too shy and resorted to fingering her hair, smiling and laughing at his jokes, which were funny. The wind picked up. Jason took off his jacket and threw it around her shoulders. He used this moment to get close and tried for a kiss. She closed her eyes, and he said to her, "Are you going to Amy's party tonight?" "Huh?" asked Lauren, looking around. Jason and his jacket dissipated into thin air, and she felt cold once again. She fell to the ground as his car vanished from under her. The lot melted away, and Lauren saw her mother, Anita Walston, stand in the doorway of her bedroom, looking curiously at her with a grin and an odd sadness about her. Anita is 5'6" with a slim body, despite gaining a few pounds around her stomach, black hair like Lauren's, brown eyes, and slim chin. Lauren quickly turned to her clock. The time was 6:30, and she replied, It doesn't start till 8. Shouldn't you start getting ready? I have an hour and 30 minutes, Mom. It takes 30 minutes to get to the house on Crow Island, so stop daydreaming and get ready, said Anita. She approached to sit on her bed. Lauren could tell something was on her mind and moved her headphones and compact disc from the bed to make room. Your father is here, said Anita silently. He is? Did he just get back from his business trip? Asked Lauren, swinging her legs around to get up. No, listen, Lauren, for a moment. Anita stopped her from standing by placing her arm across her stomach. He didn't go on a business trip. He left me. Lauren's eyes narrowed. She was confused and tried to understand. He left you as in, your father and I are getting a divorce. I wanted to tell you earlier, but I didn't. I know we were going through with it. I didn't know we were going through with it. Willem and I have been having problems for a while, and we couldn't see ourselves working through them together. Lauren placed her hand on her chest in hopes of easing the sharp pain she felt there to soothe the tensing muscles. Do you remember when you heard your father and me arguing in the middle of the night 3 days ago after our wedding anniversary in July? The next morning you asked me about it, and I said it was about an unpaid bill. The truth is, that night he told me he was leaving me for Natalie, a photographer at his paper. He left home and went to his office, where he told me the next day that he wanted a divorce. He wanted to speak with you, but we knew that if he were to show his face around here, we ended up arguing, so we agreed to spend a few days apart. It turned out to be weeks, but at least we've calmed down a bit. Lauren's eyes welled up with tears as she wondered if she was still dreaming. She trembled with anger and sadness. Anita pulled her close, and Lauren put her head on her shoulder and thought about the times they spent with her father and how happy they were as a family. How Willem taught her how to ride a bicycle, how the three of them went to the theater to see her favorite plays, how they supported her during cheerleading tryouts, even though she didn't make the team. Were they lying all this time, and for how long? I'm sorry I had to tell you tonight. I know how important this party is to you, but Willem didn't want me to put it off any longer. He wants to ask if you would like to stay with him in his apartment for a few days so that he could explain. I don't want you to come down and speak with him until you're ready. Anita moved Lauren's hair back so she could see her face. Her eyes were becoming red, so Anita tried a more optimistic approach. She said, no matter what happens, you have two parents that love you. Do you still love him, Mom? Yes, I do, said Anita sincerely. It's not the end of the world, honey, so please cheer up. If you want to talk to him, tell me now. I'm sure he'll understand if you need more time. Lauren didn't know what to say, nor did she respond to her mother when she rose to stand. She thrust herself between the bed covers and hid her face under a pillow. She could feel Anita hovering over the bed for a moment before leaving the room. Soon after, her parents' voices seeped through the walls. Why can't I see her? What did you say? You placed the blame on me, didn't you? Asked her father. You are leaving us, aren't you? This isn't my fault, and you know it. Lauren stopped crying to listen. For the first time, she understood why they were divorcing. Thinking back, she remembered how they no longer kissed at breakfast or talked about meeting for lunch, and Willem would always be too busy to eat dinner at home. Was she unaware of the whole situation because of her infatuation for Jason? Lauren thought her ignorance wasn't completely her fault. She only heard one of their previous arguments at night because she woke up to use the bathroom. Now she's going to think the worst of me. I'm going up there to talk with her, said Willem. I just told her, give her some time. You might frighten her if you go barging up there. What's frightening is that until tonight, she thought we still loved each other. Willem's cutting words made Lauren's chest feel hollow. How could her father be so cold to her mother? She heard his footsteps loudly as he approached, so Lauren got up and rushed to lock the door. The knob turned as soon as her fingers left the handle. He knocked and turned the knob again before he spoke. Lauren, open up, said Willem. Lauren was scared. She never heard her father this angry. He knocked forcefully against the door and it shook inward. She moved back and got into the bed in case her father opened the door. He continued pounding on the door, taking out his frustration on it. Willem, stop it. Are you insane? Asked Anita. Why are you making me do this? Let's be honest with her. She's no longer a child. She'll understand, said Willem. What makes you so certain she'll understand her father breaking into her room to tell her you're walking out on us? It was silent for a moment. Then she heard footsteps going down below. She got up and pressed her ear to the door. You want to be difficult? I'll show you how difficult things can get, said Willem, and the front door slammed shut. Lauren peeked out her window and she could see her father moving around the front of his car, a new one, with a pretty woman in the passenger seat. He started the engine and sped away. Lauren unlocked the door and went downstairs where she found Anita sitting in the living room, hands covering her face, crying silently. Lauren had never seen her mother cry and felt sick at the sight. She ran to her mother's bedroom to vomit and let go of her disbelief. Her parents' marriage was over. Ever since she took an interest in dating, Lauren wished to find a boyfriend with whom she could experience a similar relationship. Her parents' marriage was her model of the ideal relationship, and with it now in ruins, she no longer had much hope of finding true love. She flushed the toilet and leaned against her back against the tub, thinking of happier days, until she felt a cold hand touch her shoulder. Anita was standing over her sullen face, handing her some tissue. You've got to get ready for Amy's party, said Anita. I don't want to go, Mom, Lauren said as she took the tissue and dried her eyes. Anita crouched down. I promised myself I wouldn't ruin this night for you, and I hadn't planned on it. I didn't tell you while you were in school because you had finals, and I didn't want our problems to affect your schoolwork. I hadn't planned on telling you tonight either because I knew you wanted to see Jason. He'll be at the party, right? Lauren nodded yes. And try to have fun, and when you come back, I'll tell you what's likely to happen over the next few months. Go for me, okay? Lauren didn't understand why her mother wanted her to go to this now insignificant party, but she obeyed. She took a bath and dressed herself in the black skirt and red blouse she excitedly laid out earlier. She left her room, forgetting Amy's present, and crept to the top of the stairs, wondering if Anita was crying in private. Lauren found her waiting by the door, rummaging through her purse for her car keys. She watched as Anita hesitantly removed her wedding ring before placing it inside. The sadness was present behind the smile she gave her daughter as Lauren walked down the steps. Lauren forced a smile. She didn't want her mother to start crying again. You look wonderful, said Anita. Thanks. Oh, wait a moment. She moved to the den and opened her purse, spilled its content on a small table, and closed it before she handed the purse to Lauren. It was red with a gold fastening buckle. Take this, it matches your outfit, said Anita as she took a prescription from the table, saying, I'll refill this on our way. They walked to Anita's brown sedan, pulled out the drive, and rode silently to the drugstore on their way to the Thompson residence. Anita pulled into a drugstore parking lot and went inside. While awaiting her mother, Lauren felt the car was getting a bit too stuffy and stepped out for some fresh air. She stood by the store entrance, watching the cars go by in a hypnotic daze of lights as she replayed her parents' angry conversation in her head. The pharmacy was built at a busy intersection, and tonight several drivers were entering its parking lot without reducing their speed to avoid a traffic light. Anita was in line behind a few customers who were all growing impatient with the two people checking out at the only open register. Those two patrons were an elderly white woman with a head of white and gray hair, dressed in a black gown, wearing sunglasses atop of heavily wrinkled eyes, and her escort, a middle-aged, heavy-set black man of average height, clean-shaven and bald, who was slowly counting out his money at the register. The elderly lady was blind, and she moved her head as if she heard something odd. She exited She exited the store using her walking cane to hear whatever she thought she heard more clearly and drifted past the daydreaming Lauren. She walked into the parking lot when a blue pickup truck barreled forth from the avenue. The truck's revving engine snapped Lauren out of her reflection, and when she saw the old woman in peril, she pulled her back just before the truck was about to run her over. The old woman's companion saw her near miss and rushed to help her off the ground. He stood her up and thanked Lauren, saying, God bless you for being there, miss. I don't know what gets into these drivers' minds sometimes, that they're in such a hurry they'll kill to get where they're going. Lauren heard the man, but was trying to get the license plate on the truck. Unfortunately, all she could make out was 316. You're welcome, but I don't deserve thanks for what should come naturally, like trying to avoid causing other people harm, said Lauren angrily, as if she was cursing at the driver who was now long gone. Can you walk a little, Mina? The car is around the corner, the gentleman asked the old woman. No, I'm too sore, Mina replied. As they were standing near Anita's vehicle, Lauren offered a back passenger seat for her to rest. When the old lady was seated and the gentleman went off to retrieve their car, Lauren said to Mina, I'm sorry I threw you back so strongly. Bless you. You saved my life and gave me a few more days to walk this earth. I shouldn't have left my companion's side, but I heard a strange noise and I couldn't see the truck coming. I've been blind for over 10 years. What's my Savior's name? Lauren Walston, she replied. Walston. I believe I've heard that name on television a couple times, Mina said ponderously. My dad runs a local news station, Lauren said. Ah, that's where I heard it. Anita was returning from inside the store and inquired about the lady in the back seat. Mom, this is Mina. I'm sorry I didn't get your last name, said Lauren. Monroe. Mina Monroe, she said. Monroe of the Monroe Manor, said Anita. Yes, I lived there with my brother Ardmore. Lauren told her mother of Mina's near accident and her attempt to get the license plate just as her driver pulled up behind her. Her driver pulled up behind their car in an expensive luxury vehicle. Both Anita and Lauren were stunned by its exquisite design and certainly high price. He opened its back seat for the woman and said, "Let's get you to the hospital," he said as he approached Anita's car. He lifted Mina from their back seat, and Lauren also gave her support. I don't think I'll need a hospital visit, just a warm bath. Thanks to Lauren here, I'm going to be fine. She settled in as her driver closed the door, and she rolled down the window saying, "Please give your mailing address to my driver, Mr. Hitchens, in case I decide to file a police report. I'll need an eyewitness." Lauren looked to her mother, who nodded her head in approval before she tore the type address on her prescription bag and handed it to the driver. "Thank you. Drive safe tonight, since others certainly aren't," Mr. Hitchens said as they left. Lauren and Anita got back into their car and drove off for Amy's party. On the way, she inquired about the Monroe Manor, and Anita told her the Monroe family was one of the oldest and wealthiest families in Baker's Creek, who owned the largest private residence in town. She said they were total recluses, and it was quite serendipitous that they met Mina tonight, as no one had seen her out in public for almost a decade. Anita finished by saying, quite serendipitous, seeing as how close she came to being in an accident. Lauren was thankful as well for Mina's safety and for the few moments it took her buying off her parents' divorce. But the drugstore encounter couldn't shake the weight of their problems away when Lauren mentioned how Mina had heard of their family's name from Willem's news station. They returned to a more somber mood as they crossed Arthur Sound's bridge to Crow Island. Anita pulled into a wealthy subdivision that was usually quite quiet, but music and bright lights were pouring from one large house crowded with cars. Anita parked a short walk away and turned off the car. She sat for a moment with her hand still on the ignition key. Lauren knew her mother had something on her mind, but whatever she was going to say came out as, "Good luck tonight. I'll be back for you in 3 hours." Lauren got out, and as she closed the door, she saw tears rolling down her mother's cheek. Anita started the car and drove off while Lauren walked solemnly to the 3-story brick house. She rang the doorbell and waited, not thinking to walk around back because her thoughts dwelled on her father's word. "This isn't my fault, and you know it." She wondered if Anita was to blame for the divorce, but couldn't rationalize any wrongdoing when Willem was the catalyst of her misery. Luckily, someone was in the house to open the door, her best friend, Renee Dupree. She is a black girl with dark skin, straight black hair that cuts off at the neck, covering her small ears, and beautiful arched eyebrows. Her babyish face holds wise eyes that are black and sharp, and her lips are full, and her nose is orb-like at the tip. Tonight she dressed in a violet skirt that approached her knees and a black blouse. Lauren and Renee had been friends since 6th grade, and Lauren could always trust her with her most private secrets. She wasn't the type of girl through whom many rumors flowed or was a subject. Lauren well remembered the day they became friends. Renee arrived at class and smelled heavily of cinnamon and a mixture of other scents. Peter noticed it and immediately set to teasing her about the odor and her bizarre collection of books, all dealing with the afterlife. He accused her of being a witch, among other things, but Lauren realized in Peter's taunts that he was attracted to her. She embarrassed him in this way, saying he paid careful attention to her and could only express his feelings by mocking her. Peter blushed and stuttered, refuting her claim, prompting laughter from the class. Renee was extremely appreciative, and they've been best friends ever since. "Hey, girl," said Renee pleasantly. "Hi," said Lauren with a melancholy drawl. "What's wrong? You look upset." "I am upset." "Oh, come inside. Come in and tell me about it." Renee stepped aside, allowing Lauren to enter into the Thompsons' foyer, which had a flight of stairs leading up the second floor where the bedrooms lay. The living room to her right was furnished with a round glass table set before a stylish curved suede couch and a huge wall-mounted television. To Lauren's left was a dining room connected to the Thompsons' magnificent kitchen that was now softly illuminated, but no one was inside. Straight ahead was a family room that held a glass sliding door to the backyard where she could see the party in progress. "Why aren't you outside?" "I wasn't in the partying mood. I'm still depressed about my mother's passing. Yeah, I was really sad when I heard about it. I'm sorry I couldn't attend her funeral. You were in the hospital for a week. I didn't expect to see you there. I wanted to be there for you. Having this disease can be so inconvenient. Besides, I really liked Teresa and I thought she was getting better. I was so sad when you told me how sick she'd become. The cancer was in remission for a while, then it spread fast. She was trying to cope with her fear of death while in terrible pain. She was telling us how much she loved us while fading in and out of consciousness. She made this painful, I can't get out of my head, then she didn't wake up. She was gone before I could accept that she was going to die," said Renee, silently tearing midway through. Lauren gave her a hug as she held her, she whispered, Lauren gave her a hug, and as she held her, she whispered, "My parents are getting divorced." "No, Willem and Anita, they were so happy whenever I was over." The news was a total shock to Renee, and she held Lauren at arm's length to see the truth in her face. "They're good at hiding their problems. Mom hasn't told me much about it except that Dad was leaving her for some woman at the paper. Before that, they were arguing late at night when I was asleep." Lauren placed her mother's purse on the glass table in front of the couch and sat to confide in Renee. She had lost her loved one permanently, and Lauren reasoned she knew exactly how she felt. "Before I came here, they got into another argument. Dad was so angry he almost broke down my door." "Was he going to hurt you?" "No, he thought Mom was blaming him for the divorce. He thought she was withholding the truth from me." "Was she?" "I don't know. Mom said she was going to tell me sooner, but didn't because I had final exams, and it got pushed back until tonight." "I can understand that. I could hardly concentrate on my finals because I was so depressed. I spent much of my time wondering if Mom was in heaven and if heaven was real, that I barely passed." "How's your father handling it?" asked Lauren. "He's managing. He planned on growing old with her, but till death do us part doesn't guarantee a good 50 years or more. He can't imagine the family trip without Mom, and he has to work 2 jobs to pay for my college education. I told him I'd stay in state, but he said he would get the money to go where I originally wanted. After Mom died, I realized how selfish I was and how I would get so upset over petty things." "I know. Before I came here, all I could think about was how much I liked Jason." The glass door slid open and loud music poured inside, interrupting the girls' conversation as a wet Amy Thompson stepped in. She was wearing a red bikini with big white polka dots. She has long black hair, glamorous brown eyes, and a voluptuous figure after having lost weight from a prolonged illness. Lately, Amy has been the subject of much contempt at school. Aside from being the prettiest girl at Royce High, many girls hate her because they teased Amy when she was fat, and now she's been stealing their boyfriends for revenge. Amy also spread rumors about them. True or untrue, it didn't matter, and claimed their ex-boyfriends had said it. Lauren learned of Amy's behavior from girls in the bathroom, cursing her in frustration after losing their sweetheart. They met in the 7th grade when Amy was unpopular with her classmates and Lauren was extremely shy. They became friends and got along well. Then in the 8th grade, because of class schedules, Lauren rarely saw her except for the few moments when Amy was being humiliated. As a freshman, they had only one class together, but Lauren, due to sickle cell, became ill often throughout the year. And then Amy fell into poor health. But when they were together, they shared their secret crushes, gossiped about teachers, and studied together. Hey, Lauren, when did you get here? And why aren't you outside? I just arrived then I started talking to Renee, said Lauren, standing up with Renee rising also. I hope you brought a swimsuit, otherwise you might want to sit this party out. Where's my present? Said Amy disappointedly, looking at their inappropriate attire and empty hands. Lauren forgot all about her friend's gift and that the birthday party was a pool party. Sorry, I left it at home. Is everyone in the pool? Just about. We're having a blast. I'm going back to join them after I get a couple of towels for everyone. Come with me, said Amy. She took Lauren by the arm up the stairs. Lauren said to Renee she would be back as she departed. I know you've heard the rumors about me, and just so you know, the rumors are true, said Amy, no longer holding Lauren's hand and skipping a couple steps at a time. She entered the bathroom directly in front of the stairwell. Amy had to close the bathroom door in order to retrieve the towels from a small closet behind it. Her voice was muffled, but Lauren could hear her say, but I'm changing. I think I found, she opened the bathroom door to say, the one I love. Really? A little premature to say you love him. You think it's just another crush? No, just not love. Lauren questioned the meaning of true love after witnessing her parents' marriage fall apart tonight. She also wondered how Amy could have fallen so hard for Peter, an obnoxious boy whose only redeeming quality is that he's smart and good-looking. With her right arm atop the towel stacked on the bathroom sink and her left hand on her waist, Amy said, we've been dating for a month now. I haven't told anyone about him. I didn't want rumors to start flying around, and this time the guy is single. Amy handed Lauren half the towels, who stepped back under their soft weight. She said, I wanted to make sure he felt the same way about me before we started claiming each other as boyfriend and girlfriend. That's interesting. You said you hated labels, like that it was like being considered property. That was the excuse I gave guys when I wanted to break it off with them. I don't see anything wrong with it. If the guy that makes you feel like his most treasured possession. Have you ever seen guys with something they value above anything else, like a car? Oh, I know. A comic book they'll certain will be worth thousands of dollars years in the future. They wrap it up in plastic and won't let anyone with dirty hands touch it, and if they let them hold it. It's not the best example, but you see where I'm going, don't you? I think so, said Lauren, giggling. She stepped aside to let her friends exit the bathroom. Lauren had to give Amy her credit. Not many would proudly admit truth to such an ignominious reputation. For a while, I thought only fools would get married and take their husbands' names, Amy said as they went downstairs. But when I see how many men have such respect to their names, it's an honor to say you're his wife. They passed Renee, who was expecting Lauren to return and continue their conversation, but was insulted that she forgot about her when they headed off to the pool area. Amy slid the door open to the forceful yet rhythmic pulses of bass-pounding music and loud voices. As they walked around the pool, Lauren observed how artful it was. It was an irregular shape, almost as if designers took inspiration from the splatter of a water droplet. 3 hot tubs formed the stray particles that emptied into the main pool, but could be segregated if the Thompsons desired a cooler temperature for the larger one. Marble stones outlined the pool and held large lamps that softly illuminated the area. Many of Amy's guests were playing water volleyball, while others were lounging in the pool chairs or chasing their friends with water guns. Lauren watched them and absorbed their celebratory spirit. 4 ice sculptures, all of which captured their birthday girl at different ages, formed a square perimeter about the pool, and some of her guests were taking pictures next to them. A long table with red cloth held gifts for Amy, with pizza boxes, a fruit punch bowl, and red plastic cutlery. Lauren saw a 3-tiered vanilla cake that looked more appropriate for a wedding than at a birthday party. Giant red balloons were everywhere, and had this been February, any stranger could have mistaken this party for a Valentine's Day celebration. Amy led her to a smaller table to the far right of the pool area, where they placed the towels down. In the moonlight, Lauren could see a group of boys playing football. With such little illumination, she couldn't make out their faces and wonder how they could see to whom they were throwing the ball. Everything looks great tonight, Amy, said Lauren, smiling. It should. It took us forever to get ready. I'll be back in a second. Try and have fun, she said before she ran towards the boys playing football. Lauren walked around the edge of the pool, wishing she had brought her bathing suit to jump in and play with the cute guys in the water. She heard someone whistling, and upon turning, Lauren saw a shirtless Peter wearing red swim trunks in a pool chair, waving and blowing kisses at her. He is a black teen with very seductive eyes and a strong physique, light brown skin, and his hair is neatly trimmed high and dark. He wears a thin mustache and goatee. Lauren often remarked how his appearance is the only thing he has going for him because his attitude was repulsive. She rolled her eyes before looking back to the pool. She overheard Peter remark to his friend as he reclined, "That's the kind of girl I want. Classy and a hot body like her friend Amy." "Hourglass girls, huh?" said his companion casually, stretched out next to Peter. "That's right. Don't want it any other way either." Lauren was appalled. She knew Peter only sought girls to make out before dumping them, and he knew he wanted to do the same with her friends. After seeing her father with the younger, prettier Natalie, Lauren started to think all guys just wanted women for their bodies and not their personality. She tried to ignore him, but his conversation drew her attention. "Before I came here, I met this girl," Peter whispered to his friend. "Who?" "Some nerdy artist chick. She was painting a lighthouse on Coral Street. My friends and I were eating at the pizzeria. We come out not the first to see her, so I'm thinking she's kind of cute. I approach her and she looks up, rolls her eyes, and continues painting. Now you know when you see that, she wants you, right?" Said his friend. "So I'm like, 'Hi, my name is Peter Townsend, and I was just wondering if I could see your work, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, give me the short version.' She was completely put off. My friends and I agreed that girls could be more polite when a guy asked for a date. So we decided to play a prank on her," said Peter quietly. Lauren could barely hear his voice over the party noise. "We got some monster masks from the costume shop and changed our clothes in the store and left around back. We came up behind her and scared her silly. She picked up her stuff and ran, but here's the deal. We followed her a little while when she took off running. You know that grassy hill area down near the end of Coral Street? Well, she ended up taking a little spill," Peter giggled. "What happened to her?" said his friend worriedly. "She's all right, I guess. I was afraid she was hurt, but I think she deserved it." Peter broke up his conversation and sat up quickly when Renee walked in front of him. He whistled at her and said, "Hey, cutie, still reading about ghosts and goblins?" Renee rolled her eyes, and Lauren heard him tell his friend, "See, that's the type of girl I'm talking about. She's beautiful." Peter whistled again and called Renee's name, but she ignored him. "I hate Peter," said Lauren. "No one likes him, not even the guy he's talking to," said Renee matter-of-factly. Shocked, Lauren said, "Did you hear what they were talking about?" "Tell me later." "I think I should." "Lauren," said Amy. Lauren turned her attention to Amy gaily, waving her over. Lauren felt a rush of anxiety. Jason was standing next to Amy, holding her hand. She approached slowly, feeling lightheaded with every step. "This is my boyfriend, Jason," said Amy, proudly looking into his face. Lauren was devastated. Her only anchor of happiness on the worst day of her life had sunk into a sea of sorrow and pain. "What did you say?" said Lauren. She asked angrily. She startled Amy, whose smile disappeared. I said Jason asked me out. We're dating now," said Amy, moving closer to Jason. I don't understand." Lauren was growing hot with anger. She was shaking, her lips began to tremble, and her voice broke. "What do you mean? What don't you understand about Jason and me?" Should I say Jason? No. "Jason and you?" asked Lauren. She looked up and down with a profound disbelief. Renee hung her head. She knew Lauren was fond of Jason. Everyone at school who knew the two could sense it, and Amy's recent activity in the dating scene wasn't going to convince anyone that her interest in Jason was genuine. The guests nearby also took interest in what was brewing between the two girls. Amy excused herself from Jason and spoke with her out of his earshot. "Does it bother you that I'm dating him?" Lauren didn't answer. She stood looking confused at Amy. She was absorbing her friend's statement, becoming increasingly angry. I don't understand why you would do this to me," said Lauren, her eyes beginning to well up with tears. "Do what?" Amy pleaded. "What? You know what? You stole him from me." "He wasn't yours to steal, Lauren," Amy whispered, trying to get Lauren to understand and lower her voice. "Neither were all those other guys who you've been stealing at school. What have I ever done to you?" "Listen, I like Jason. He never mentioned you, nor did you tell me that you were interested in him. I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to hurt you." "Don't try and play the innocent role, Amy. You could tell I liked him. Everyone can. I never teased you, so why would you take him from me?" "I can't believe you're such a..." Watch it, Lauren. Watch what you say to me. I swear you'll regret if you make the mistake of calling me out my name, said Amy strongly. She began to walk away when she returned and said, I had my suspicions that you liked him, but he wasn't with you. It seems like I got him first, and you're just going to have to deal with it. After all, look at you. Amy gave her a disgusted glare. What could you offer him? You're nothing compared to me. Lauren didn't let her finish as her right palm slammed into Amy's left cheek, leaving a red handprint in its wake with gasps echoing from the onlookers. Amy covered her cheek with her left hand. Her face hurt badly. Lauren started to walk off, but Amy responded by pushing her into the table, her presents and cake. It succumbed to the pressure of her weight and broke in two. Cake and red punch spilled on her dress. The presents were crushed under her as the crowd converged on the two, cheering the fight on. Lauren stood and grabbed her hair, pulling it hard and punching her face. Amy dug her nails into Lauren's skin, trying to get free by loosening her grip. Peter left his companion to pull Amy off, grabbing her breasts in the process, and Jason restrained Amy as the two shouted obscenities at each other. Lauren wrested Peter's arms from her and shouted, Don't you ever touch me again. She kicked him in the groin. Peter cut his privates and fell, screaming as Lauren walked away, furious, knocking one of Amy's ice sculptures off his pedestal as she passed. I'm sorry, I misread that sentence, but anyway. It fell into a hot tub, and the guests in it scrambled out before the ice landed. Peter's friend helped him up, asking if the field was worth it. He replied, I'll let you know if my children come out deformed. Renee followed her as Lauren left the pool area. She slid open the glass door and stormed through the house, leaving Anita's purse behind. Renee entered the house and after her and shouted, Wait, Lauren, but her friend kept moving. She ran faster as Lauren made for the front door before Renee came up to her and pulled her arm to stop. Get off me, Renee. You knew, didn't you? I found out when I got here. Amy asked me if you liked him, and I said you did, but I didn't think she'd tell you like this. Ugh, Lauren said disgustedly as she continued moving. Wait, where are you going? I can't believe this has happened. It's the worst night of my life. My dad walked out, Jace, with that whore, and I'm pissed off. Lauren followed her out onto the porch as a blue pickup truck was speeding around a curve. Alcohol clouded the driver's mind and evil intentions controlled his body, forcing him to propel his car down the road. At that speed, he was unable to react in time. I won't let it go, Jason. She ruined my party, said Amy, furiously entering the house. Where's that bitch? Jason followed her, trying to convince Amy not to keep fighting, but she brushed him off and pushed Renee aside as she searched for Lauren. Consumed by hate for her father, Jason, and Amy, and life itself, Lauren continued to walk down the street, venting her frustrations, when suddenly a shell came from behind as Amy resumed her attack. Renee ran to break them up when a blinding light stunned them all, and a great jolt of force and pain plowed them all to the ground. The truck swirled around and stopped. The driver suddenly regained his sanity and sobriety and fled the accident once he realized what he'd done. Lauren felt little pain as her senses ebbed. Lights became as dark as starless space, and only a chill endured. That was chapter 1 of The Ghost of Amalgam, the Linking Tome. As you can see, I still had some errors in there, but, I do need to keep on editing these stories. This is a 540-page PDF that I've made out of my manuscript. But once again, The Ghost of Amalgam, the Linking Tome is available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. Please support. It is also available at OutskirtsPress.com/Justin Freeman. And once again, I will be reading the next segment, starting with Chapter 2, Gathering of the Revenant City, shortly. Thank you very much.